Hello student, I am Vivek Chaudhary and here I am teaching you viscous flow through circular pipe. The condition for viscous or laminar flow in a pipe. What is the essential condition for a flow to be a viscous or laminar flow? The necessary condition is Reynolds number should be less than 2000, right? So what is Reynolds number? We already know rho v d by mu. This is your Reynolds number. So where rho is what? Density of flowing fluid. V is the average velocity of fluid inside a pipe. D is diameter of the pipe. Suppose your pipe is not circular. In that case, D is replaced by what? DH. That DH is what? Hydraulic diameter. Okay. And what is mu? Mu is your dynamic viscosity. So it is the necessary condition that Reynolds number should be less than 2000. Then a flow can be considered as viscous or laminar flow. Sometimes we have seen that Reynolds number is less than 2300 is treated as laminar or viscous flow. That is also good. Okay, both are good. And if Reynolds number is more than 6000, then it is a case of turbulent flow. Okay, all this Reynolds number condition is for a flow through a pipe. These Reynolds number are valid for a flow through pipe. But if you are asking about there is some plate and flow is happening over it, then that critical Reynolds number is around 5 into 10 raised to power 5. That is the range for the what? Flat plate condition. But here we are dealing with the pipe, so we remember this. We have to remember this thing, that your Reynolds number should be less than 2000 or 2300 approx. And here I have taken one question: what is pressurized flow through a pipe? So why I have taken this question? Because it is an important term. How? Suppose what is pressurized flow? Suppose this is your pipeline and water is filled up to this level and flow is taking place here. Okay, so this is your water level, suppose, and that part is open to that atmosphere. So pressure inside it is P atm, and all over here pressure is constant and equal to P atm, that atmospheric pressure, right? So this type of flow is not called as the pressurized flow. For the pressurized flow, condition is your pipe should be filled with water throughout the pipe. So all these surfaces, internal surface of pipe has contact with water, right? And its pressure is definitely above what? Atmospheric pressure, right? The pressure inside the pipe is above atmospheric pressure. So what is our objective to do in this video is, first of all, we will get the shear stress distribution, and then after velocity distribution across the section, then the velocity, then the ratio of the maximum velocity to the average velocity, and then the drop of pressure for a given length. So if I am talking about the shear stress and the velocity distribution across a section, this is also across the section. Suppose this is your pipe and you have taken a section. So across this section you have to get various velocity and shear stress distribution, right? And what is that? The drop of pressure for a given length. For the given length, this is written as the given length. Means you have to take two sections A and B, suppose. Then what is the drop of pressure? Means suppose this is P1, this is P2, this length is L. Then what is the pressure drop? That P1 minus P2 divided by that length. So this is our objective to get it, right? Okay, what is the maximum velocity? We know that if this is a pipe, suppose I've taken the pipe, very big pipe. Okay, this is the surface of the pipe, this is the surface, this is also the surface, and along the peripheral direction all the surfaces, right? Where fluid comes into contact with the surface, fluid's particles velocity is going to be 0, right? And the fluid particle above this layer of fluid particles have some more velocity, and above some more velocity, right? In this way, there are various layer of fluid particles which are moving in their layer. Okay, so in viscous flow, fluid particles moves in their layer, and most of the particle moves their layer, and very less fluid particle moves across the layers. Okay, this tendency is very less in the laminar flow. If the particles are moving across the layers, and many particles are moving across the layer, then it can be considered as the turbulent flow. So here we are not discussing the turbulent flow. Okay, so at the center line, which is the farthest distance from the surface, has the maximum velocity. Okay, particles near to the wall has 0 velocity, and as we go away from the wall, we get increase in velocity and maximum at the center line, right? So here, this is the diagram you have to understand. This is how we show our long pipe. The ends are shown like this. This is the ends 1 and the end 2, right? So in this pipe, I have taken a cylinder. Cylinder is made up of fluid also, and this is an elementary element in the shape of cylinder, right? We have to analyze how the forces are acting on this elementary cylinder. So first of all, this is the direction of flow. Okay, direction of flow is in this direction. Suppose this is x-axis, so flow is taking in along the x-axis. So as we have taken this elementary element at the front surface, suppose this is section A, this is section B. In the section A, there is pressure applied by the fluid particles on this surface. Okay, on surface A, fluid particle is applying some pressure, and pressure multiply by the cross-sectional area gives us what? Force. And force is acting normal to this surface A. Similarly, at this surface B here, a pressure force is also acting in opposite direction, right? Opposite direction of fluid flow, but the normal direction of the surface. As you know, if if there is water and we put some object here, what is the hydrostatic force? Hydrostatic force acts always normal to the surface. It is like this. Okay, so in the similar way, the hydrostatic force, suppose this is the hydrostatic force, then it is acting normal to the surface. In the similar way, fluid is under pressure, so the pressure is acting normal to any surface. So here at section B, it is acting in this direction, which is opposite to the flow direction. And what is the value of pressure and area? Area is constant here because it is in the shape of cylinder, but the value of pressure is changes. That pressure plus some changes in pressure. Why some pressure change occur here? Just because this pipe is of uniform diameter, so diameter is not changing along this x-axis, so the velocity head is constant throughout, right? And suppose this pipeline held horizontal, then the potential energy is what? Constant. Potential head is constant, right? Which head has to vary is pressure head. So the pressure head should vary along the direction of flow. Okay, so here we have some change in pressure like plus del P upon del X plus delta X and into area. This gives the direction of this gives the force, and this is the direction of force. And here you can see on the surface of that cylinder, outer surface of cylinder, there is another force, that is your shear stress force. Okay, that is shear force, or you can say the frictional force, or force resisting the motion of the cylinder. Okay, and why it is working in opposite direction? Suppose here, see, this is your, you can say, the velocity profile. How? Because you know the maximum velocity is here and velocity is 0 here, right? We know this thing right now. And so suppose at this point your velocity like this, and just above it fluid velocity is little bit less. So there is velocity difference. That's why these particles try to drag this element in opposite direction, because these particles have less velocity and particle here have higher velocity. So particles above this cylinder try to drag it in opposite direction. That's why this force is acting in opposite direction, and this force acting all over the surface, okay, that is the periphery plus periphery into that length of cylinder, right? Now we have to write the equation of motion. So for equation of motion, try to write various forces along with their direction. For in x direction I have taken the positive sign, so force acting in x direction are this minus p plus del p upon del x delta x times that area and minus tau 2 pi r delta x is equal to what? Mass into acceleration, right? But here mass into acceleration going to be what? Value 0, because we have assumed steady state condition. So we are working for steady state condition, so acceleration is 0, right? So this gives us expression of tau is equal to r by 2 del p upon del x with minus sign. Okay, so this is the expression for shear stress distribution. Okay, so as we see that the shear stress is directly proportional to r, we can draw here, take any cross section. I have taken like this. Shear stress when r is 0, we can see tau is 0, right? So at the center line tau is 0. As you move away from the center line, it is going to increase linearly, right? Like this and like this. All are straight lines. Okay, so tau is maximum here and tau is maximum here, and it varies linearly. So this is the profile for shear stress distribution. So for the velocity distribution, as we know what tau is what? Mu du by dy, right? In the last page we get the expression tau is what? R by 2 del p upon del x with minus sign, right? So this is multiplied, right? That minus sign I kept to inside because pressure is going to drop along with the direction of flow. That's why this term inside this bracket is a positive term. That's why I kept minus here. So just equate these terms. Mu du upon dy is what? R by 2 with minus of del p upon del x, right? So you have to replace this dy, because suppose this is your pipe, this is the center line, right? So what is y? Y is distance from the surface, and what is our distance from the center line, and we know this is the radius of your pipe. So you can say that r is equal to r plus y, right? So your y is equal to r minus r, so that the differential form comes like to be like this, right? With minus sign, r by 2 del p upon del x with minus sign. So du upon dr is equal to r by 2 mu x. Okay, we have to integrate to get the value of u with respect to that dr. So profile comes out to be like r square divided by 4 mu del v upon del x plus some constant value c1. So for getting the value of this c1, we need to put a boundary condition, and we know the boundary condition is that velocity of fluid particle at a fixed surface is 0. So this is your pipe. So velocity here at surface is 0. So when small r is equal to capital R, velocity going to be 0. This is our boundary condition. By putting this condition, we get the value of C1 like r square divided by 4 mu del p upon del x with minus sign, right? So what is the velocity profile? U is equal to 1 minus 4 mu del p upon del x with minus sign and r square minus small r square. So this is the velocity profile at a given cross section, right? Now let's find what is the maximum value of velocity. So we already know that when r is equal to 0, u is equal to u max. Just put this condition and we get the maximum velocity like 1 minus 4 mu del p upon del x and r square. This is the maximum velocity, right? Now get the another parameter, that is the average velocity. So for getting average velocity, what we have to do is just get the value of discharge and divide it by cross sectional area. So we have to get the value of that q, because we don't know about the q, we know about this area, that is pi r square, right? So to get the value of q, what we have to do, let's see. This is your pipe, right? Take the cross sectional view of this pipe. We have some circle like this, not a very good circle, but assume it is a circle. Okay, so from the center at a distance small r, assume a elementary circle of thickness dr. Okay, so we know at small radius r we get the velocity profile, right? Because u is the function of r. So at small r, r is equal to r, right? What is the value of u? We already know. This is the value of u. Okay, so at r, this is the value of u. And what is the area of this small ring? This is the cross sectional area of this small ring, that is dA is what? 2 pi r perimeter into that dr, thickness of this ring, right? So this is the area. So what would be the discharge through this elementary ring is area times the velocity. Okay, so that del q is equal to what? 2 pi r dr into 1 by 4 mu and multiply by these things also, right? Let's see in the next page that your dq is dA into u, and dA is what, 2 pi r into dr, and u is what, 1 by 4 mu del p upon del x with minus sign into r square minus r square, right? So what you have to do, just integrate it, these terms, and integrate with respect to what, that dr, right? And what is the limit of dr? 0 to capital R. So this is the limit. Do the integration. What are the constant value? Put them outside. This one, del p upon del x with minus sign, and what, 2 pi. These are the constant, and do integration r square with r minus r cube dr, right? What will get? This terms into that r square into r minus sorry, that small r square divided by 2 minus r to the power 4 divided by 4, and what is the value? Limit is 0 to r. We will get that r to the power 2 minus r to the power 4 divided by 4, and so here we get r to the power 4 divided by 4, and this term also mu del p upon del x minus sign and 2 pi. So we'll get the expression what, r to the power 4 uh, with pi divided by 8 mu del p upon del x with minus sign. Right, this is the expression for the value q. So what is the value of u average? It is q divided by pi r square. Okay, that is the cross sectional area. So its value comes out to be r square divided by 8 mu with del p upon del x. So what is the ratio? So what is the ratio of u max and u average? It's come out to be like, by putting the values and you'll get the value 2, right? So this is an important expression, you have to remember this thing. Let's calculate for what is the pressure drop for a given length L. Just take the expression of the average velocity, or you can write it like this also, u bar. So what is del p upon del x with minus sign, u bar into 8 mu divided by r square, right? Most of the time we are dealing with the diameter, not the radius. To put this radius in the form of diameter, divide by the diameter square, right? So let's see what is del p upon del x. Here on the top of the screen, this is your pipe, and this is the section 1, this is the section 2, where p1 is here and p2 is here, right? So what is del p upon del x, and del x means what is the difference between these two in length. Suppose from some reference it is x1, and from that reference this value is x2. Then what is del x, or delta x is equal to x2 minus x1, nothing but the length between these 2 point 2 and 1, right? So what is del p upon del x is p2 minus p1 divided by that length. So we know that p2 is always less than p1 because flow is flowing in this direction from 1 to 2. It means that p1 should be greater than p2. So this value going to be a negative 1. That's why that minus sign, put the minus sign here, and we'll get P1 minus P2 divided by L. So the expression for del P upon del X with minus sign is P1 minus P2 divided by L. So P1 minus P2 divided by L is 32 times mu u bar divided by that d square, right? So this is your pressure drop. Expression for your pressure drop. This is the u bar. So 32 mu u bar L divided by d square. This is the pressure drop for a given length L. And what is the pressure head drop? If you are talking about the head, then what we have to do there? Just divide this term by rho g. So it is the in the head form, right? So it is the head which has dropped over a certain length, that is 32 mu u bar length divided by rho g and d square, right? And this is also known as Hagen-Poiseuille formula. So you have to remember this thing, that the Hagen-Poiseuille formula is what? HF is equal to these terms, right? So this is for the viscous flow through circular pipe. In the next video we are going to cover what? Viscous flow between two parallel plates. Almost all the derivations are same, only boundary condition has to be different. Okay, thank you.